the other day, Ricki did a stream where he built his PC. And we're going to
Good content, by the way. Great content.
Thank you. I didn't think it'd take 5 hours, but it did.
That top down was an absolute angle.
Yeah, so I literally got a bit of double-sided, or the hook and loop, sticky strips, stuck one to my roof and one to the back of my webcam, and just stuck my webcam to the ceiling.
Just fucking the DIY of it all is that for me put the stream at an A tier.
Yeah, and then the worst part was because it's an old webcam, and it's only 720p, and it's fairly wide angle. I had to punch in to what I would have assumed to be about 480p to get just the desk in frame. And yeah, look, it didn't look great, but it did the job.
It looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. I like that you had the multiple angles. That was I'm also in the. I've just recently saved up enough money to buy a new PC. I've got all the cash together. I just need to pull the trigger and buy all the parts. I definitely want to stream building that as well, but it's not going to look anywhere near as good as that. When I saw your build stream, I was like, oh, mine's going to look so garbage compared to this.
Don't compare yourself to other people, John.
No,
you are your own individual.
Look, Twitch is and Twitch have tried to push this themselves a fair bit. It's not necessarily the quality of the video or the quality of the play. It's Twitch is selling personality.
Yeah,
that is the whole. It's the same as YouTube. At the end of the day, most of the gaming centric YouTube and Twitch channels I follow are not speedrunners or amazing players at whatever particular game it is. It's more about them making funny or interesting content just out of video games in general. It's not necessarily about being the best.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, when I do start streaming on Twitch once, because I've got a few things to fix on the computer, but for the most part, it's done. That's mostly what my content, I want to aim my content at, is not because I'm not the best at any particular video game.
No.
But I want to make interesting content using the video games as a conduit for that kind of content. So
yeah,
that's the plan anyway, but yeah.
No, I totally get that. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing. I'm playing. I've been playing through Exapunks, which is it's a video game about programming, computer programming, and the whole gimmick is that I'm an idiot who failed year 10 maths, and here I am trying to basically play the Dark Souls of programming video games. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from there. But speaking of that stream though, in the middle of it, naturally you had to take a break because it was a 4.5 hour stream, it was a bloody marathon.
It was.
You need to take a break and take care of go to the bathroom and do all your business.
Bodily functions, yes.
Bodily function
How
gimmicks.
You reckon you can go? Holding it in?
Oh, that's entirely depends on the context. I mean, I used to do overnight lands where I wouldn't pee for 12, 13 hours straight. But yeah, because probably really bad.
I'm not a low key humble brag, but not really trying to humble brag. But I actually reckon I can hold out for a fucking good long while. I don't need, I need to pee, but I can say to myself, David, you don't need to pee with shit for the next day and a half. And I can genuinely just not. I can just straight up not.
That's not healthy.
I know it's not healthy. I'm not saying it is. I'm not promoting that anyone should do it. It's because just hearing that, it's got me questioning. I'm just sitting there going if I had to do a 5 hour stream, I could do a 5 hour stream. I could do an overnight LAN, I reckon, and just not have to. And then when the red button is pushed on stop, boom. Boom, there I'm off the toilet. But during that time, I can hold it back. But it's just got me questioning, I don't know, am I an outlier here? Because I know a lot of people who can, as soon as the feeling hits, they have to. They genuinely just can't tell their body, no.
I've reached, the breaking point of that, thinking I can do it, and then realizing that I was mistaken. I was coming, this is back when I lived in Echuca, and I was coming down to Melbourne to visit some friends, and I think we were going to the footy that weekend. And I chose the worst time to leave because I left Echuca at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which means I hit Hoddle Street at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. So traffic, just gridlock on Hoddle Street. And I was about halfway down and I had to go. There was no telling my body this is not happening. It was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stuck in between, I think on Hoddle Street city bound, there's a Caltex. And then there's 2 blocks and then there's a Shell. I was dead set in traffic in the middle of these 2 servos, stuck there for a good 15 minutes, just being all I need to do is just get to that further servo and I can pull in and I can go to the bathroom. I get to the servo and it's one of those smallish, it's literally just a fucking 4 walls and a counter essentially. And I bust in there. I'm like, dude, have you got a bathroom? He's like, oh, no, staff only. But I think then he saw the desperation in my eyes, and he was like, all right, here's the key. And I went to like, the staff bathroom because I feel like he could tell like the desperation of my voice and the desperation of my eyes. It was coming no matter what, and it could either be in the middle of the fucking store or it could be in the bathroom. Those were his two options in that moment, and he chose the smarter choice. But that was like the one time I have like desperately like wanted that ability to just tell my body, no, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. But just there was something going on when my body was just like, no, this is happening now. Tough shit, literally. Yeah.
Was it actually?
It wasn't a comfortable one. Like obviously, like I was like either like got a little bit of a stomach bug or something, or like it was not a conventional bodily movement. But
oh, you were fighting handicapped, so it wasn't
I think so, yeah.
Ah, okay. In those situations, fair enough. Like the after grog one, you can't control, right? No. Then there's the stomach bug one, which I'll agree with you on that. If I had one of them, then it's like, if I need to go, I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to fucking go. But I'm talking about like just I ate like a Palmer 12 hours ago, and it's just natural digestive tract taking nature has taken it the forefront, and it is just the time. I can hold back that time.
Yeah, there is situations where your body will like tell itself, like marathon runners. Yeah, marathon runners can like eat all the way up, like carb load up to the marathon, and then they run for like 3 to 4 hours as a standard marathon, and at the most they may have to like duck into a bush and take a piss. But they're the same with the Tour de France. Those guys are on the bike for like I think 5 to 8 hours, depending on how long the stage is, and they'll be eating like on the bike to keep their carbs at a level where they can burn efficiently for 8 hours. But because they're in such an active motion, their body will just be like, no, you don't have to shit. We're going to hold off for 8 hours. But then when you get to the end of the stage and your body like calms down and the adrenaline wears off, then I'm pretty sure a lot of them just like running to the bathroom because they've got 8 hours of just fucking dirty carbs just ready to be expelled.
Or it happens like 10 meters before the finish line.
That would be like the worst. But
that's happened. There's pictures.
In that case, like you'd finish the race quicker because you're just like, oh, I have to shit. So you just fucking start pedaling as hard as you fucking can.
Yeah, if I'm the runner or a biker in that situation, I'm going, all right, I'm going to time my second win, but I'm going to use it as like, oh no, now I need to So you're like 10 meters from the finish line, that feeling, that sensation hits you, I'm sprinting even harder at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, there are pictures of people whose bowels have just failed, like, 100 meters from the finish line. That's what I mean. Like, it goes either way. You can either hold it all the way to the end, or you'll just, like, the whole thing just goes, no, this needs to happen now. But
I feel bad for those people.
So instead of doing any of that, instead of worrying about any of that, Ricki elected to have a whole separate thing where it had a be right back. Scene, I suppose you'd call it. I'm not quite sure what you would call it. Just
Oh my god! Did you have intermission music playing as well?
So no.
Even better, David.
Even better, he had the podcast playing, and specifically
Ricki.
Yeah.
Aww.
And so I'll describe what was on screen. So we had a bunch of Simpsons gifs for like "We'll be right back," which was like pretty funny. And then across the top of the screen, it had Pint Party, the name of the episode, and like basically where you could get it, like just really simple, like it's on Spotify and blah blah blah. And then the audio was a clip from the episode. It was from Club Rawhide, episode 7 was the episode specifically. And I thought, oh wow, this is really cool. And like I was looking at it and just analyzing and going, how did Ricki do this? How did he set this up? And I thought what he'd done was he had like basically just pulled an episode from the RSS feed at random and just had it play it at a random time. I'm not realizing that it was that wasn't the case. And so I said to Ricki, hey Ricki, how did you do this? Did you do it like this? And Ricki said, no, that's way too much. Lol, no, that's too much work. He just downloaded an episode, like cut out a clip that he thought was really funny and then just set that to loop. And I was like, that's cool, but I reckon I could do it my way. And so, like, immediately after Ricki's stream, I set to task making that a reality. And that's what I did. I made the thing. I made it. So
you made it?
I wrote a script. In Python. I originally was going to do it in JavaScript because I wanted to make it all one web page, but apparently JavaScript doesn't play nice with RSS feeds anymore because Microsoft. And then I was going to do it in C Sharp, just to make it all one nice little program, but that was a bloody nightmare. So I just went, screw it, I'll do it in Python because I know I can do it in Python. And I wrote a script, and what it does is when you execute the script, it grabs our RSS feed and grabs an episode from it at random, and then writes up and then creates a HTML page and a CSS script to make it look pretty, and then automatically opens your default web browser and opens up a web page with the random episode on it and some some dressing to make it look nice. And autoplays the episode, or it should autoplay. It doesn't autoplay in Chrome because Chrome blocks all that. Because essentially the script, the underlying code is basically a pop-up. And Chrome's just shuts that right down.
Can you take it the step further? And I imagine if you could go down the route of once we start, time stamping, can you go a step further and say, if you were to click this, we will take you to a discussion David had on X or John had on Y. And then it goes to that episode, to the timestamp, and starts the discussion there?
No, I don't want to do that because really what it's designed for, the idea is that you just click on it when you want to take a break. So you click on that and that gives you your visual right there really quickly that you can switch to. That's the point of it. Right now, all it does is just starts playing the episode from the start of the episode, and I would like to offset it so that it would start from a random point in the episode, or at least not start from the beginning, just so that you can just skip over the opening jingle and stuff. Otherwise, that's going to play literally every time, and that could get pretty boring. But I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, just because I'm not doing anything fancy with the... I'm going to talk some nerdy talk right at the moment. I'm just using the default HTML5 audio player, and I know that there's a way to offset values in that, but I haven't quite figured out how to do that and where to implement it and stuff like that. So I'm still figuring all of that out. But basically, the next step is to get that to plug into OBS so that Ricki can use it, which you can do. OBS supports Python scripting, but it also means I have to kind of rewrite my script because OBS supports Python 2 and I wrote it in Python 3 because that's the version that people should be using. So I don't have to rewrite it. Nothing I do is specific to Python 3, except I think maybe, no, I don't think so. Anyway, I have to take a look at that. And then I have to figure out how to make it kind of work within OBS because obviously it won't run in a web browser. It'll run in OBS. And so having to figure that out and getting it to execute and stuff. Plus, it's slow. It's really slow because our podcast hosting provider has DDoS protection. And when you run the script, multiple times while you're testing it, our podcast host thinks that you're trying to do a denial service attack and throws your connection. So it ends up running super, super slow.
So you did all this because you got inspired by Ricki having to go take a shit midstream.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds about right. Sounds about
fucking
right.
excellent. Sounds like our company, really.
Yeah. I spent 6.5 hours that night writing just the basic code, and then I spent another 6 or 7 hours making it look pretty. Yeah. So in all, because Ricki had to take a shit, I spent 12 hours staring at code. And with that, welcome to Pint Party, a podcast designed to turn a beer and a chat into a tax write-off. I'm your host, John McLeish. And joining me this week is most of the Gimmick Gang, David Yang and Ricki Needs. Boys, welcome.
Hey.
Good afternoon. How is everybody?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Not too bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
Just really quickly, because that discussion just then it reminded me of something. I had a debate on air. So I'm on radios, everyone. Just FYI, I'm on radios every Friday. I had a debate on air about whether or not people take their phones to the throne, so to the potty. Now, I am flabbergasted because apparently there are people who don't take their phones to the potty. To me, that's just wasted fucking time. That is wasted time.
Yeah,
of course I'm taking my phone to the fucking toilet.
You have to.
You got to.
Well,
if anything, that's when you should be using the phone the most.
Or else you've got to read the back of the shampoo bottle or some shit.
And after you've done that a few times, it gets boring.
Yeah, I know. I need stimuli on the bathroom because, yeah, you're right. It's just wasted time.
Or you take a mad efficient shit and you just get in shit and get out, and the whole process takes 45 seconds.
Oh bullshit!
Oh no!
Bullshit. Who is taking a sub 1 minute shit?
Everybody in the British Army apparently.
Nah, impossible.
They're trained to do it. They're trained to do it. If you
Impossible.
go and watch. I think it was mentioned on an episode of either the Slow Mo Guys or it might have been the Rooster Teeth podcast. But like Gavin's partner in crime on the Slow Mo Guys, because he was in the army. Like they taught him how to take a shit in like 30 seconds.
No,
So,
I'm
like,
calling bullshit. I don't care. I'm calling bullshit. No shit. Realistically, to get everything out to last yourself at least a couple of hours should not take you any less than 5 minutes. Surely.
I mean, no. I mean, is it comfortable to do it in 30 seconds? Probably not. But like when the bullets are flying and you got to take a dump, you've really only got 30 seconds to take a dump, and you're not holding a phone at that time. You've got a rifle, so like.
If a bullet is flying, I'm not even running off to the toilet at that point. I'll shit right there.
Yeah, the army doesn't like it when you shit your pants. You know, I think they'd rather you just you poo in a hole, but like, you know, keep your gun up at the hole. I don't understand the whole fucking thing. I don't know how the whole fucking thing works. All I know is that people in the British Army can apparently shit in 30 seconds. That's all I know. I don't know any more.
I'm not hearing it. Unless we get someone from the British Army on this podcast, I'm not having it. There's no way someone can take a shit in less than 30 seconds.
No, it's not less than. It's like 30 seconds like is the minimum. I think that's the fastest they can do it.
What do you think is the fastest shit you've ever taken?
The fastest shit I've ever taken, it probably was about a couple of minutes. It's probably 2 minutes. I think it was like I think it was when I was doing a live production, and I literally only had 2 minutes, so I like ran off, did my business, and just like came back. Yeah. I think that's when I was doing a live production, and I took it in like 2 minutes.
Enough.
I think there's two eras where you could talk about that. It's like it's pre-smartphone and post-smartphone. Because back when I was a kid, I had no phones, and I didn't like think like my dad to take the goddamn newspaper into the bathroom. That was very much a case of get in and get out, no mucking about. But in a post-smartphone era, it's very easy to just get stuck on the toilet because you know you open up Facebook or Twitter or something, and you just end up sitting there for much longer than it takes to actually do your natural processes.
See, even then, even pre-smartphone era, I'm still living in a post-Nintendo portable Game Boy era. So, like, I'd still be sitting on the potty, and, like, I'm trying to go back as far as possible into my, like, shit memory log. And, like,
yes.
I'm still going to the toilet, and I'm carrying my Game Boy, and I'm blasting out some Dragonball Z. Like, I'm still using that time for something.
Honestly, I don't think I ever took my Game Boy to the bathroom.
No, neither did I.
Or my DS, or I've not taken, or maybe taken my Switch once. But that was because I was like in the middle of something and like I had to go, and I was like, well, fuck, I can just handheld this bad boy. But to me, back when I was a kid, like the Game Boy was sacred. Like that thing was, I had to ask like 3 birthdays and Christmases in a row to get that before my parents finally relented. So I was very much keeping it as safe as possible out of you know a dangerous situation where like you're a kid. That gap where you're sitting on the toilet when you're a kid between your legs is always a lot bigger, and there's a lot more room for error than when you're an adult.
Yeah.
Look, this is true.
I don't need any droppage action happening. I don't need any splashing. Like I was very, very like careful. Like my OG Game Boy Color, I got the teal bluey green one.
Oh yeah.
I found it last time I went home to my parents' house. Whacked some brand new batteries in it. Still fired up. Like
right.
Yeah.
That is a commodity at this point.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
I've still got my lime green Game Boy Color that I got for my 6th birthday, just sitting there, and I've got it, no batteries in it. You can just put batteries in it, and it runs.
Yeah. The only drawback with like the Game Boy system was the fact that the cartridges have batteries in them.
Yeah.
And when those batteries die, it's either that's it, the cartridge is done, or you've got to go through a very meticulous process of replacing the battery, but that will also wipe all of your saves.
Yeah.
So you've got to either like just retire the game cartridge and be like, you know, this is my progress. I have now, you know, I give this back to the earth. Or if you want to play it again, crack her open, put a new battery in, but it will wipe the cartridge and you have to start from scratch again. It's a very like there's like a half-life on every single Game Boy Color cartridge that still exists out there. Eventually, one day they will all die.
Well, the time's passed actually, because it happened a few years ago.
It?
Yeah, because I remember it being a thing on the internet. People saying that like after, because I think it was like the came up on like I think it was the 20th or the 25th anniversary of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green coming out, and they were like, "That's it. You know, the batteries are now gone on kind of the last of them." So yeah, we've already passed that point for certain games. I know at least for Pokemon, like the first Pokemon games were past that point. You know, it just really depends on when the game came out. But like, yeah, I think it's like 20 years later they go.
You know, that kind of makes me sad. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I know, and I think is it the same with N64 cartridges? Like independently powered, or are they powered by the console?
I think they're powered by the console.
Okay.
I think by that point they started storing save files in flash memory so that you didn't have that problem. But I don't remember.
Right, yeah.
I think the biggest technological advancement for the portable game device was, because I'm remembering back to the early Game Boy, when they introduced the Game Boy SP, it had the light screen behind it, the LED light screen behind it, because in the Game Boys, you couldn't play them in the dark.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not
that quality of life stuff is, that's childhood for me.
I remember on like family trips when we were driving at night, I would wait until like the street light went over the car, and like I'd be playing it with like the Game Boy like facing the window.
Yep.
And if I was playing like Pokemon or something, and like as the street lights came past, I would do as much as I can in that 2 seconds that the street light went past, and then stop.
Yep.
And then wait for the next street light, and then wait for the next street light.
Yep.
Like,
that takes me back.
Although,
you had to get fucking creative.
Oh yeah.
To keep playing those games at night, because like either you had to like sneak a light on, or they had like the attachable like Game Boy light that was on like a bloody flexi stand.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. And looking back now with like the rose tinted glasses, I can't even remember a time where like I didn't think that it had backlighting, but it never did.
No,
it did. Right. Dude, that's what I'm saying. The Game Boy did
because I got the clamshell, the SP as well, a few years after I got the Game Boy, and like just thinking about like pressing that little button to turn the backlight on was such a big deal, and Jesus, I can't believe it took them that long to actually put a backlight in a console, but there you go.
Backlit screens weren't actually done by Game Boy, but by Nintendo first. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the Atari Lynx had a backlit screen, if I'm remembering correctly.
Trust you to know this.
Well, yeah, because I never owned one because this was like well and truly before my time, but I was doing a live event with my buddy Serby at Serblander on Twitter, and he runs a thing called Weird and Retro, and he's all about the retro games. He's great. Shout out to Serby. And he's got a bunch of Atari Lynxes because you could play them in LAN. You could connect them up to each other and play LAN games with certain games. And I'm pretty sure they had a backlit screen. They also took a fuck ton of batteries. Like, no rechargeable batteries. It was all AA's, and it was a fuckload of them. I think it was like 6 batteries per thing, if I remember correctly. It was like an absolute fucking nightmare to put batteries in these things.
That was the biggest cunt of that technology, was the fact that you had to use batteries. Yeah. I literally remember fighting Frieza in the Game Boy Dragon Ball game, and they usually you can normally get the red light, right? The red light tells you that you're low on batteries.
Yeah.
And I'm mid-fight.
Yeah.
Right? I can't save. So I'm desperately doing all I possibly fucking can to finish this. I'm skipping text. I'm doing all of that. I'm missing story just to get to a save point, and it fucking shuts off.
Yep.
In the middle of the fight. And I didn't play that game for at least 6 months. For at least 6 months. Out of pure anger and spite.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that at some point it was either fighting the Elite Four or going after Mewtwo that like I forgot to save the game. Like that's in with Pokemon. Anytime you do anything major, save the game right beforehand.
Save scum the shit out of it.
Oh,
yeah, and I reckon it might have been my first attempt at the Elite Four, and I forgot to save after how you got to go through like every zone and get each of the 8 badges checked.
Yeah,
and then you get to the Elite Four. I got to the end of the zone. Had all of the badges checked, was about to go into the Elite Four building, and it crashed. Ooh. And I realized my last save point was back in fucking Viridian City.
Ooh. After you got the 8th gym, or
no, like after I got the 8th gym. So I got shipped all the way back to Viridian City. Had to go and fight all those fucking trainers and all the Pokemon in the grass areas between Viridian City and the start of Victory Road. Go through the entire thing again. Catch fucking Zapdos and Articuno again. And then get through like all the 8 badge checkpoints, and finally got to the end, saved it, then went through and got the Elite. But yeah, I was as a kid, and that was a good like 2 hours, like of just like going through all the different like the road from like Viridian City to to Victory Road, all the trainer battles, all the random encounters, going through the rigmarole of getting fucking Zapdos and Articuno, which is a fucking nightmare, and then like getting actually finally to the Elite Four. Like I was heartbroken. I was just like, I did all that work and had to redo it again.
Wait, did you
mean Moltres and Articuno? Because Zapdos is in a different area.
Yeah, Zapdos is at the power plant, but
you fucking
sorry, yeah,
idiot.
No, shut up.
Shut up. but also, I'm pretty sure it was just Moltres because if I'm not mistaken, I thought Articuno you got in the Whirlpool Islands just before.
Oh, true. Yeah, it's just Moltres.
Is it just Moltres?
It's just Moltres.
I swear to God, I caught one of them.
And it's the worst of the legendary birds.
Because Zapdos is at the power plant.
Oh, yeah, no, he is too. Yeah.
Articuno, which is just north of Lavender Town. And I'm pretty sure Articuno is in the Whirlpool Islands, which is between Fuchsia City, which is my favorite personally, with the Savari Zone and all the gimmicks, and
Gym 7.
And that island, I can't remember the bloody name of it off the top of my head now. The one that had Porygon on it.
No, it was the fire gym. So yeah, that island below Pewter.
Yeah.
And so to the right of that, there's a bunch of islands, and then further right and go up. I'm remembering a fucking Kanto region map is stuck in my head.
I think it's
Kanto and Johto. And I personally got a strong affinity for Hoenn. I love Gen 3 personally. But Kanto was stuck in my head. So it's that set of islands is where you get Articuno. Zapdos is in the power plant. I'm pretty sure you can get Zapdos the earliest of them all.
Yeah, you can.
And then Moltres is in Victory Road or whatever the gimmick is.
No, wait a minute. No, wait. I think because don't you have to use Surf to get to the power plant? So technically, you could get Articuno. You'd get Articuno first.
Nah, because you can't do Articuno until a certain point. I'm pretty sure.
No, because it's in the Whirlpool Islands. It's on the way to. It's on the way to the
Island.
It's on the gym.
Yeah, Cinnabar is the Gym 7.
Yeah.
Jeez, wow, we're having a fucking.
But between Cinnabar and Fuchsia City is the Whirlpool Islands, which is where Articuno is.
But I'm pretty sure you can't get Articuno until you've done something. Whereas with Zapdos, as soon as you get Surf, you can go down to that area.
You need a HM. I think you need Strength because you have to move some boulders. If I remember.
Yeah, you get Strength pretty fucking early.
Yeah,
though.
no, you do because it's all ice in there, and you have to use Strength to move boulders to set up points to fucking move around. Yeah. No, but you get Surf way earlier than that, so you get Zapdos first.
All of this is a roundabout way of saying that you wasted your time on Moltres. Moltres was fucking trash.
No, Moltres was easy as shit because you're already dead.
What do you mean Moltres is easy as shit?
It's the easiest because you've got Zapdos and Articuno, which means you've got 2 of the 3, and Moltres is on the fucking way. Like Zapdos, you have to go out of your way to get. Articuno, you kind of have to gimmick around to get because you have to like go through the first time, miss it, you'll see it, and the game basically cucks you and says you can't get this until you come back. And then you do that, and then you come back and you get it. But Moltres is literally on the way. It's in.
Say Moltres isn't like there. Moltres is there. You'll get Moltres, but why you get Moltres is beyond me. Aside from completing a Pokédex, because Moltres is fucking trash.
No, you got to complete the fucking Pokédex, mate.
No, I'm not saying don't complete the Pokédex. Complete the Pokédex. Just don't put Moltres in your party.
No, Moltres.
I just wanted to catch you, man.
Yeah, but Moltres gives you versatility because Moltres, if you need a fire Pokemon. But you still want to have a Pokemon that gives you Fly. Well, Moltres can know Fly, and then you've got 3 fire moves, and Moltres can learn the 3 most powerful fire moves in the entire game. So that gives you your ultimate fire Pokemon, and gives you a free slot to put another Pokemon in that doesn't require Fly. So you've got that's your bird and your fire Pokemon all in one.
I'll fucking say it. Fire is the worst type in all of Pokemon.
You're wrong.
I'll fight it. I'll fight any on this. Fire is the worst type because it's just budget dragon.
There wasn't
You're a budget dragon.
Okay. First of all, when Moltres
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Fire is just budget dragon.
You're wrong. I'm telling you right now you're wrong because dragon
fire is the worst.
Dragon type didn't exist in Gen 1.
Because
I'm not including Bug and Fairy, by the way.
I was gonna say in every single Elite Four run you'll always come across at least beyond Gens 1 and 2, there is always a specialty steel type trainer or Elite Four member, and fire fucking kills steel so easily.
Bullshit! How many games have had a steel type Final Four person?
there's a lot. No, not saying like specifically Steel type, but we'll have like a Skarmory or a Pokemon like that.
Yeah,
that like
Steelix.
pretty much every other type just runs into them like a brick wall.
Yeah.
But if you have a Fire type, just runs through them like nothing.
Yeah.
You always need a Fire type in your party, and that's why I always start Fire type. I started with Charizard. The only exception being X and Y. I ended up with Greninja.
Also, like in Gen,
I don't know why.
In Gen 1, one of the Elite Four was Ice type. And
true.
And
Yeah.
you get double damage against, like, Fire type is like OP as fuck against Ice.
Yeah. I mean, I did an Elite Four run where I just took Charizard in my party and destroyed the entire Elite Four.
You can theoretically do
Charizard aside. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I'll give it to you. I'm giving it to you. I should have put an asterisk at the start of my slander. All right. Charizard aside, and you know what? Possibly.
What are you calling it? Charizard?
What is it? Charizard.
Yeah.
Charizard.
Can I be fucked really adding that second little
Have you watched the anime? Come on, man.
I have. Don't you come at me. Don't come at me. Don't question me on Pokemon. I'm a Pokemon.
The entire fucking show, they call it Charizard.
There's a whole fucking subplot devoted to Charizard.
I'm choosing to ignore that. It's Charizard. Him and Blaziken aside, fire types are trash. I'd rather have a dragon.
No, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
Well, Charizard is fire/dragon, so get fucked.
Only in later gen.
I'm pretty sure they got rid of that now.
No, I'm pretty sure Charizard I think it was once they introduced the dragon type, Charizard became a fire/dragon type.
That was in the first fucking game.
No, but it wasn't. It was just called a fire type. Dragon type didn't come in until I think Gen 2.
I'm so sure that Charizard is no longer considered a dragon type because I played the most recent one and I remember saying to myself, God, I can't wait to get, because they made Charizard a big fucking point in the most recent one. I'm like, can't wait to get my own handle on fucking Charizard. Turns out he wasn't dragon type.
Charizard,
I think he's still flying, and I think he's just flying and fire now.
Oh yeah, so okay, no, so it depends. Okay, so it depends on the type.
They made him a flying type.
He's fire flying, and then Mega Charizard is fire dragon. So Mega. Oh my god, then they split this fucking thing up 7,000 different ways. Mega.
Yeah,
Charizard,
look, when they started introducing Mega Evolutions, that's when it fucking lost me.
That's when it fucking lost me too.
Yeah, that's not Pokemon to me.
Yeah. So Mega Charizard X is
Mega Revolutions.
I didn't see the point. I don't see the point. It's basically you're just giving Pokemon the ability to go Super Saiyan. That's it.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was a kid, I used to draw like fourth evolutions of Pokemon or like extra evolutions. So I'd draw the Pokemon, like the third evolution or last, and then I would like add stuff to it to make it like the fourth evolution. I have a book at my parents' place.
Oh my god!
Of all of my drawings and stuff. My dad helped me because my dad's actually really good at drawing. And he would like draw out like the basic shape of like a Charizard or a Venusaur or a Blastoise. And then I would go in and like add embellishments to it. And like essentially one of them, if you go back, it kind of looks like the Mega Evolution of Charizard, because it's just like longer horns. I maybe put some like spikes on his body somewhere and with like extra flames coming out of his mouth. And then when like Mega Evolutions became a thing,
that's basically what they did.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like that, like the Leo meme that's going on now where he's like pointing at the screen.
Yeah.
That was me. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's basically, that is exactly what they did.
I'm going home soon to see my folks and I will hunt that book down and I will bring it back to Melbourne. I'll take a bunch of photos and stuff and you can chuck it up on the Instagram because I know roughly where it is in my bedroom. So.
But see, then you end up with the Mega Evolutions, though. Then you end up with the Dragon Ball Z problem, and that is that you just end up having to, like, in order to, like, take it up a notch, you have to introduce more and more powerful versions of that. So it's like,
oh no,
because in Dragon Ball, getting to Super Saiyan was a fucking feat and a half.
Oh
and
my god, that scene in fucking Namek Saga still gets me.
It is. It's fucking crazy. And then by fucking like the most recent episodes, I haven't kept up, but I have kept up with like occasionally I'll check in to see what Super Saiyan levels we're at. Now they're up to fucking Super Saiyan level 9 or some shit. And it's
no. So hold on. The canon how it works, but to my understanding, so they have like Super Saiyan God and stuff, right?
Oh,
but
fucking hell.
Those are gimmick evolutions of Super Saiyan that can't be attained via like general powering up. Because I think general powering up can still only limit you to Super Saiyan 3 only. Super Saiyan 4 is not canon anymore.
Oh, is it? Oh, is
That's-
4 not canon? Where they got
4 is
really
not
hairy.
canon in GT. They just said fuck GT. That didn't happen. All right, Super Saiyan 4. So him fusing with the monkey and then turning Super Saiyan as a monkey and then going back to human is no longer canon. So
Good.
Super Saiyan 3 is, I think, is the highest one you can attain via a natural like train and fucking just yell as hard as you can. And even then, it still drains. It drains the Saiyan user drastically, so they can't even use it for a long time. But then I think things like Super Saiyan God, where it's like blue hair, I think they have to be achieved via a special kind of gimmick.
Right. Okay.
Where it's a Kaioken or something mixes with
Yeah.
your natural power level, and then you just go above and beyond. But I think Super Saiyan as it stands is stopped at 3 in terms of a natural power up, and it's still fucking epic.
I guarantee you in the later episodes, like they'll eventually have to go, how do we kick this up a notch again? And it'll be Super Saiyan God level 2. And instead of blue hair, it'll be fucking green hair or some bullshit. I guarantee you. That's the problem
There's
with
a
that.
new one in the end of Super called Super Instinct, and their hair's like white.
Yeah,
there it is.
that's the
Yeah.
highest one now.
But that's like tapping into like the ancient Saiyan powers that are lay purely dormant inside all Saiyans, and like to like purely like it's essentially like fighting on instinct. They just unleash this primordial power from within them, and they become like gods essentially.
Right.
Because like you're right, the Dragon Ball the Dragon Ball saga has the issue of just like it's always escalation. Like every single like it would be funny if the series was like it started with Boo and then went back to Frieza. Like they started with their hardest enemy and then it just got easier and easier as the series went. But of course it's escalation. It goes the other way. And yeah, it's the same with most animes and stuff like that. It's always escalation. But how do you come up with something to beat the next big bad guy? It's always going to be impossible to be like, oh, this is definitely how it works. Whereas at least with like Super Saiyan and then Super Saiyan 2 and 3, if you just scream louder and harder, you're probably going to get to that next level.
There's an art to it. We're really not doing
No,
it
there
justice
is.
by explaining it. Right?
There
There's
is.
an art to it.
Like my favorite transformation of all time is controversial, but it's Super Saiyan 3 when Goku powers up for the first time.
Oh, come on! Where do you rate Gohan going Super Saiyan 2? Come on, man.
Super Saiyan, okay.
Yeah, 2 was...
Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2 after seeing Android 16 get his fucking head kicked in. All right, and then he's like, no, I gotta do it. And then he goes, like, half an episode of just screaming, and he stares down Cell. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Look, they're all, like, iconic. And honestly, like, the OG transformation, Goku on Namek.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's up there too.
It's probably the least visually stimulating. Just, he yells, and then all of a sudden, he's just a Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, very good transformation. But because there isn't that much difference in the look between 1 and 2, it's just like straighter hair, not as visually appealing, but they did a better job. When you get the Super Saiyan 3, they were like, okay, we need to bring out all the fucking stops when it comes to animation. And they did. Like, it's the fact that, like, at this point, all of Earth is shaking, and that his transformation is actually, like, people on other planets can feel this transformation happening. And then you have that final bit right before he changes where you have Goku, he morphs back into, like, baby version of himself, back into the womb, and then that big explosion afterwards. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's got all the hair, his eyebrows are gone. It is, from a visual and animation standpoint, Super Saiyan 3 transformation is the best of all of them. But emotionally, yeah, Gohan and Goku probably better from an emotional standpoint. But when I was watching the Buu saga and I saw him transform into Super Saiyan 3 for the first time, as a kid, I'm just like, oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the fusion for the first time, and that fucking worked me.
Oh yeah, that was
like,
good.
The fusion was the dopest thing I think I'd ever seen in television. And I just remember going to my brother being like, "Let's fusion! Let's fucking fusion! Come on, let's do it! We can do it!" And we like literally stand in the living room and just practice the fucking fusion. I know it off by heart right now. I could probably actually recite the fusion dance right now. If someone beside me, I'll just do it.
Fusion. Ha ha! Beautiful.
I always feel like they didn't do enough with Trunks.
Yeah, look.
I think Trunks had a shelf life to him. And I think they deliberately gave him that shelf life when they fucking said he's coming back from the future.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I feel like they could have done more with that, and they just didn't. They were just like, the future is dark. And I'm just like, okay, but like, well, then what are you trying to accomplish here? I'm trying to accomplish...
It was just a cop. It was just a cop out to have a future storyline anyway.
Yeah. No, but they didn't. That's what I'm saying. They didn't have the future storyline. It felt like it was a cop out just to have Vegeta go, "Oh my fucking god! Like someone agreed to like procreate with me. What the fuck?" Like that's all that felt like. And then a lot of it is like Vegeta trying to figure out who Trunks' mum is.
No. You know Vegeta likes it. Fucking Bulma likes it rough.
Oh yeah.
And Vegeta can give it rough too, bro.
Oh mate. Oh buddy. Oh mate.
If we had to do a tier ranking of Dragon Ball Z characters and their ability at sex, Vegeta has to be at the top.
Oh yeah. I think Goku is like a solid number 2, but he doesn't really realize what he's doing.
I reckon Goku's a simp.
No.
They reckon Goku's no. Wait, you know what? No.
He's not.
Gohan's a simp. Gohan's a fucking simp. Argue me that Gohan isn't a simp.
Gohan is definitely a simp.
Right after the Cell Saga, what does he fucking do? Loses all his goddamn powers, picks up a sword, and just sticks it with Videl, and that is it. That is it. He is done after the Cell Saga. Basically, fucking useless in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't happy with his treatment after that because, like, he was set up.
He was the prodigal son.
He was supposed to be set up as the next main character, and like they got like through that weird high school saga right before the Buu saga started, and they were they realized, like, based on manga sales and stuff, they're like, oh, this isn't working. We need to bring Goku back. How do we bring Goku back? We can just bring him back from the dead. Fuck it.
Yeah, the same. They already had a system, a mechanic in place for that. Gather all the Dragon Balls, summon the dragon, and wish for Goku to come back. They've done it like 3 times.
Yeah,
by that point.
But like they really wanted to set up a Gohan as the main character going forward.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they just didn't have the storyline to do it because he is a pacifist at the end of the day, and it was too hard to sort of write him into that combat role or the leader of the combat on Earth when you've spent 3 or 2 sagas already setting him up as a pacifist. So they kind of wrote himself into a corner, which they fixed it, kind of. But I think as an extension of that sort of fuck up right before the Buu saga started, that's why we got GT. Because they just like, we need another saga with just Goku.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, and it's obviously not officially canon anymore, but yeah, it didn't work out that well. So they kind of overcorrected way too hard in GT. And that's where you got stuff like Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 4 Fusion and just, all this craziness. But, whatever.
See,
bro, as a concept, Super Saiyan 4 is lit, though. Like, they should really try and make that canon again.
No, I disagree. It was
stupid. Oh, come on. It perfectly utilizes their monkey form, which I just don't think gets enough credit outside of the Z saga, right? Because it's very big in the Dragon Ball saga. So it utilizes the monkey form, gives the Super Saiyan some purpose, and it just looks dope.
It does look dope. I can't deny that. Although when I first saw it in like K-Zone magazine back in the day,
bro, K-Zone,
bringing that one back. I thought it was fan art. Like I legitimately thought it was fan art.
Yeah,
because he hasn't got the blonde hair, right? Because they go half monkey look and then like black hair still.
Yeah, black hair, red fur. And I was like, oh, that's cool fan art. And they were just like, oh my God, it's from Dragon Ball GT, the new anime coming out. And I was just like, okay, sure. Yeah. And then like never got around to watching it until like I was probably 20 years old. And someone had it on a hard drive. And I was like, oh, can I grab that? I want to watch it. And then got about halfway through and I was like, nah, not for me. Pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, I dipped on Dragon Ball like after this, like just like between the Cell Saga and the Buu Saga, like while Gohan was in high school having a gimmick, and I'm like this motherfucker like saved the world like 4 times, and now he's fucking struggling with algebra. That's what we're gonna watch for the next 500 episodes. Like, no, fuck this.
With you 100%, John, because I just think it probably didn't last as long as we're remembering it, but thinking about it at the time, it felt like it stretched over a good 20 episodes.
It's literally a 10-episode arc before we get back to like the World Martial Arts Tournament starting. It's like 10 episodes.
10 episodes too long.
Yeah, it was.
there are some iconic moments within that little bit, and the Buu Saga in general. Like the Buu Saga is epic. Like once you get to the end of it, where you have like Goku facing down Buu with a spirit bomb made from all beings in the entire universe, not just one planet. It was fucking incredible. Like that is. And it just like it shows you this. There's one episode. It's like the 3rd or 4th last episode of the entire series, and it is Vegeta finally, like, humbly accepting that Goku is just plain better than him, and it is one of the best like episodes of any TV show, anime, whatever, because it basically goes through Vegeta's entire past right up until this point where he's getting killed by Boo bit by bit, and his internal monologue is finally accepting that after all this time, after all his training, after all the shit he goes through, that he accepts that Goku is better than him as a fighter and a person.
Is
and
Vegeta... Go on, sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying, it's such a perfect, humble moment from he's my favorite character in the entire series. You can't not love Vegeta for his arc and just for his attitude and just you understand that drive to be the best you want to be. But then in this episode where he just sort of like finally accepts and understands that no matter how hard he tries, he will never be as good as Goku. I loved it. I loved it. It's such a good way to like sort of, it was like the preeminent cap to the series.
Who has the better face turn arc? Vegeta or Prince Zuko?
I knew you were going to bring this up. I gotta go with Vegeta, and I know you've you finally started watching Avatar, which I'm so happy you're starting to watch Avatar.
We're not going to get too much into it. I just wanted to bring up Prince Zuko. Well, you got me thinking. I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, you've only just started season 3, so maybe when you finish the entire series and before you watch Korra, we come back and we have a little debrief on Avatar. But for the most part, look, Vegeta's arc is such a... It really does feel, in the crazy wild world of Dragon Ball Z, it does feel like a natural evolution because, like, even when he has, like, fucked Bulma and he has a son, he still buggers off into space for, like, 3 months to try and turn Super Saiyan, and he finally does and comes back, but he bails on Bulma. Like, that's not a full face turn. He's full tweener at that point. But when he's, like, full face, and, like, him sacrificing himself to save Trunks and Goten.
Oh, my God. I was about to bring that up. When he's in the margin state?
Yeah. Yeah, and
when Vegeta solidified himself as the greatest character in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, 100%. Like he is the best. Like, and he's the only one. Him and Piccolo are the only ones that really have an arc. Every other character kind of remains the same. Like Goku never changes. You know, most of the other characters really don't have a huge arc in terms of like, you know, they started at point A and where they ended up in point B is drastically different. But really, Vegeta is the one that has that huge arc from the Prince of All Saiyans to a father, husband, friend of Goku and the Z Fighters. Like that is a proper story, and you get drip fed that arc in little bits. Like even by the time the Cell Saga comes across, he's still very much like, I want to do this myself. I don't need your help. Then by the end of the Boo Saga, he's the one calling out to all of the citizens of the universe to put up their hands and give them their power because he understands that Goku is the only one that can handle that much power to then beat Boo. Like that is proper, like
I've got
story.
goosebumps.
Like, dude, it is so.
I've actually got goosebumps.
Yeah, it is so well done. Like it is so goddamn well done, and it's worth going back just to watch the Boo Saga, just to watch that sort of the finality of Vegeta's arc and how far he comes from. You know, when we meet him the first episode all the way through to where he ends up is just fucking nearly perfect storytelling. I love it. I love it so goddamn much.
Don't tell me anything, but is the Zuko story arc equally as satisfying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so. In a roundabout way. Because, like, it's not... You don't have, like, 300-something episodes to build up to it. It's not, I think, as wholly satisfying as Vegeta's because it took so long to get there. But it's still a very, very worthy part, the Prince Zuko story in Avatar. So, but
see,
yeah, like, finish watching it, come back.
That's why what I liked about Zuko's arc, though, is that they don't bullshit around for 600 episodes.
They don't.
They just
it's fucking quick.
They go from point A to point B, and they don't fuck around. And that's what I liked about it, though, because it meant though that you could keep up with what was going on. Like you weren't getting bogged down in a whole bunch of extraneous bullshit, which is what happened basically all the time in Dragon Ball. Like,
hey.
It took fucking Goku, what was it, like fucking 10 or 12 episodes to summon the first Spirit Bomb to kill Frieza? It was like, fucking hell. Like, that should have been...
you fucking do one.
That should have been 3 episodes max. No, but like, it wasn't even that. It was sort of like they slowed time down because I don't think it actually took that long in real time for Goku to actually do it. They just like kind of slowed that down. It was just like, yeah, while this is happening, here's all this other bullshit that's going on that's all filler. Like, that's what they did. And I was just like, oh my God. Yeah.
You do know there's a reason. You know there's a reason behind that, yeah?
All the filler? Yeah, I imagine there is. There's probably some bloody reason. I just don't care what it is.
It's because the animators on the TV show were actually catching up to the manga.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is.
And they had to wait for like fucking like chapters of the manga to come out publicly for them to then animate and like draw and animate the TV show or the episode equivalent of that chapter of the manga.
Yeah.
So
I did not know that.
They were just essentially too efficient at their job.
Mm.
And they caught up like super quick. So they ended up having to like put filler in to wait around for the next chapter to come, or the next like issue to come out, and then go ahead and like draw and animate and turn it into a TV episode. But yeah, there was a reason why they had to do so much filler, was because they were just too efficient. So there you go.
It just doesn't make for good television though. That's all. Like I get the business reason, it just didn't make it wasn't entertaining.
Sometimes
it makes for good memes though, because I think one of the funniest fucking memes still I've ever seen to date has been, what's longer, the last 5 minutes of an NBA basketball game, or Goku versus Frieza,
which is supposed to be in real time, 5 minutes.
Which real time, because Namek is exploding.
Yeah. And
5 minutes he's got, and they fight for almost, I want to say, about 20 episodes.
Yeah.
It's
fucking fantastic.
Someone's actually brought a theory out about that, is the fact that they are so powerful and move so fast that to them it feels like time is moving at a steady, regular pace. But if we were on the ground observing them, what feels like an episode long to us, so it's like 20 minutes, is actually like about 30 seconds to them, because they are so fast.
Brilliant. So you get that kind of dynamic with Hercule in the Cell Saga, where you just see blips and you're kind of watching it from Hercule's perspective.
Yeah. And then it's just like dots on a screen moving so fast you can't even see it. And that's kind of like someone like did the math of like, okay, if from the moment Frieza shoots the power ball down to the core of Namek and says there's 5 minutes until the planet blows up, to the point where the planet actually blows up like 10 episodes later, it's like they're essentially moving at like 20 times normal speed. And if you sort of calculate how strong a Super Saiyan is supposed to be, it's about 20 times more powerful than a Saiyan. It kind of works out. And like this person is doing like some really, really convenient math to get these equations, but they kind of worked it out that like they would be moving so fast that to them it would feel normal, but for anyone watching externally, it would be just like that fucking quick.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you have to move at a measurable degree of C in order to make the whole thing work. Yeah. You
can make excuses, and I'm happy to make excuses for a show like Dragon Ball because it's that fucking good that I will give it a pass. I will forever give Dragon Ball Z a pass.
All right. Well,
anyway, this has been the anime hour.
This has been no, I'm not even kidding. This has been the anime hour. There's literally like the last thing. Like, I mean, I had a whole episode. We were going to talk about a big chunk of all kinds of other stuff, but we're not.
All right, can we do the hot chips here, please?
No, because that's literally going to be a 30-minute discussion. We don't have the time. We're going to have to wait.
I guess we got to save it.
We got to save it. We got to save it.
Well, I'll say this, David. Fuck you and your KFC placement, you piece of shit.
I don't know what you're talking about. We'll save that discussion for another week.
We'll have to save that discussion. Yeah. So I guess we started it off with you talking about your PC, Ricki. Let's end it with that because that's what I said we'd do. So you built a computer for the first time in, what did you say, 7 years?
7 years, yeah. Last time, my last PC I built was 2013.
Yeah. So for those of you who like, I mean, this has been a pretty fucking nerdy episode as it is, but I suppose there are different kinds of nerd. There are computer nerds, but not all computer nerds are anime nerds. Not all anime nerds are computer nerds. So I guess we're delving into different circles of nerd at the moment. So we're hopping out of the anime nerd circle and into the computer nerd circle. So if this is where we lose you, thank you for tuning in. Catch us next week when I promise we won't get so fucking nerdy. I mean, to be fair, we started off with talking about shits. So we gave you what you want. All right.
You've had a Pint Party episode.
You've had a Pint Party episode. It was just 5 minutes long. All right. So you built a PC. Can you just real quick run us through the specs on this new PC?
Yeah. So I went with the Ryzen 3 2600.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, Ryzen 5 2600 processor. So 6 cores, 12 threads.
Yep.
Currently clocked, I think the base clock is 3.6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be doing some light overclocking to get that up to 4 gigahertz a second. The MSI titanium or mortar titanium motherboard, once again, allows for overclocking,
That's a B450 board as well, by the way, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A B450 board, micro ATX form factor, because I didn't want to go anything like overly huge. But but has enough expansion slots for me to like maybe put a internal capture card in it if I need to, and just little bits and pieces like that. I went the RX 580 Armor 8GB graphics card.
Yep.
Just because of all like a lot of when I did a bit of research, heaps of people that use this processor paired it with this graphics card and said it was the best bang for buck 1080p gaming experience you could get, and that's all I intend to do. I don't really feel like I'm buying a new 1080p monitor to go with this setup in the future, but for now, I don't really see the point in splashing out for 4K in Australia, only because we really don't have the bandwidth yet to either for me to stream it or to stream to the device and get the full effect. Like any video that's on YouTube that can be upscaled to 4K, the minute I hit that, it just bogs the video down and starts buffering the hell out of it. So 4K in this day and age in Australia isn't really, practical. So stick for a good solid 1080p high frame rate gaming experience. That's what I've kind of gone for. What else did I put in it? I put a Corsair AIO cooler for the CPU. I've always done regular fan cooled CPU coolers. I wanted to go something a little bit special for this. So I went with the water cooler, which was an interesting experience, sort of loading it, like putting it into the case. But I got it done eventually. And yeah, just a nice, decent power supply to sort of power everything. So it's not a crazy setup. I set myself a budget of $2,000 and I stuck to that budget pretty well. And I think it's going to do the job for me for the next, 3 to 4 or 5 years.
I like how you said it's not too crazy, but like, I mean, what you failed to mention is that you RGB the fuck out of the thing.
Oh yeah. Well, like the fans that I got, the fans that came with the CPU cooler were already like RGB fans, and I just found the same model in a 3-pack to just fill out the rest of the fan slots in the case. Yeah. And yeah, they look ridiculous, and it is that classic like unicorn Barf, because that like. The thing is, I haven't even gotten to the software to like start tinkering with those fans yet. They just automatically go to like the full RGB spectrum right out of the box. So it just looks like this insane rainbow just spilling out of your PC. Yeah, which is awesome. And I might leave it on that setting. I might make it like to either 1 or 2 colors. But for the most part, yeah, I love just how like insanely colorful it is. And I kind of wanted it to. I wanted to build it for practical, but I also wanted to do a little bit of have it be a centerpiece of my desk and my setup, and have it sort of as an eye catcher, because you spend a lot of time building PCs, and that you can build very subtle, functional, all black case, no lights, whatever PCs that do the job. But sometimes you do want to go that extra step, and after building it and turning it on for the first time and seeing all that RGBness, it was worth it.
Oh yeah, no, I was actually surprised at how like bright the whole thing was when you fired it up on stream. I was like, it was like suddenly the sun just came out from behind the cloud.
Yeah.
It fucking blinded me. I was like, oh shit, that is just fucking bright.
Yeah, and when I watched the stream back, like my exposure on my camera was not ready for that level of brightness.
No, it really wasn't.
It just washed out the entire scene. So I am planning on doing like a follow-up stream at some point when I've got the computer configured to how I want. I've got the overclock stable and ready to go. And I'll run some benchmarks and stuff when I'm ready to do that. But I've just got a little bit of work to do, but it's mostly ready to go. And I'll be streaming on my Twitch every chance that I get. I haven't got a schedule in mind just yet, but it'll definitely be weekends because I work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So, but I'll let people know when that's ready to go. But for the most part, I'm just happy it's built. I'm happy it's working. I'm happy it posted. And can't wait to play some games.
We get back into recording some gimmicks, huh?
Hey!
Am I right?
When you're right, you're right.
When I'm right, mate.
No, yeah, I'm actually really, really looking forward to like seeing that whole thing like tuned up real nice. Do you reckon? Just one follow up question though is: do you really reckon? Like, I'm not too familiar with 2nd gen Ryzen processors. Do you really reckon you can get 4 gigahertz overclock? Because there's not a lot of headroom in the Ryzen processors.
I've looked up plenty of guides on overclocking the 2nd gen.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how much, if you just do it incrementally, so you just up the voltages, little bits at a time, you're not going too hard, then it is actually as long as you've got suitable cooling, there is actually a fair bit of headroom to be dragged out of 2nd gen Ryzen.
Right.
More than most people expect. But yeah, I've seen people do, even with just the very basic, like say, the AMD Afterburner program, I think it's called. They're like in-house stock overclocking program.
Yeah.
Seeing guys get 4.2, 4.3
Shit.
stable, as long as you've got a beefy enough power supply, adequate cooling, and a motherboard that can handle overclocking, no issues. So it is a very, very stable system to do some like basic overclocking on. Obviously, if I went Gen 3 or the current almost released Gen 4 Ryzen, which I think is getting released July or August, that will obviously have a lot more headroom because they're just newer processors. But yeah, I've done the research and I've seen that there is, like, I could get 4 gigahertz out of that, stable, no issues. So
no. What I mean is that like with 3rd gen, there isn't a lot of wiggle room in terms of overclocks because they already clock, like their base clock is basically as high as that processor will go when it's binned. Like when it comes out, that's it, running as hard as it can. They don't leave anything on the table with the Ryzen processors. Unlike the Intel chips where like you can get a noticeable difference in performance by overclocking them.
Oh yeah. But that's why like I want to run benchmarks with it as stock right now, and then do some light overclocking and just see what the difference is. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And I think with the AIO, you're definitely going to have like the headroom for that, which I think is going to be great. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing any of that though. Like, and also, but also the other advantage is because AMD said they're going to support the B450 board with the next gen. So you've got like, which I think is great. It means you can go from like a 2600 into like the 4000 series whenever that comes out, and it won't be a problem, which is great upgrade path. I'm still not going to do it. Like even with that announcement, I'm still going to keep with like, because the one I'm going to buy an X570 board. I think I'm just going to stick with that, just because I just don't want the hassle. Honestly, I think it's worth it just to not have that hassle, knowing that right out of the box it supports 3rd gen Ryzen, which I'm also getting, so I'm going to get a 3600, or I'm tossing up between that or a 3600X. It's like an extra $80, but at that point, basically all I'm getting is a better stock cooler, and I could save like $20 and buy an aftermarket one, which is probably even better again. So
I would save the $80 and just get the 3600. Don't get the X variant. Just go to 3600.
Yeah. Like in America, it would make more sense because in America, the price difference I think is like $20, and it's sort of like, okay, well that makes more sense over getting an aftermarket cooler. But like here, the difference in price is so great that like there are literally like pretty good air coolers you can get from like Be Quiet and stuff that are cheaper than like upgrading from a 3600 to a 3600X. So I think I might do that. But again, I have no intention of overclocking, so I'm not even like super concerned about any of that sort of stuff. At least not for the first little while. What I'm more concerned about is like, can I build the fucking thing? Because you haven't built a computer since 2013. I haven't built a computer since fucking 2002. So, and even then, technically, I didn't build one on my own. I was building one as a child with my dad. So, like, I mean, I've never actually built a computer on my own. I've never done a solo build. So this will be my first solo build.
Computer internals have changed a lot since then, I will tell you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Even the jump from 2013, which was a fairly high-end build back then, it was $3,000 my budget in 2013.
Yeah.
Which got me a lot of computer, and it's lasted 7 years, so I got my money's worth. But yeah, it was even a challenge with a 2020 build. There's a lot that's not a lot, but there's a lot of small differences that you wouldn't think about that have changed between now and then. But for the most part, like I said on the stream, it's just an adult jigsaw puzzle. All the parts have a place. They will fit if they're done the right way. They will not fit if they're not done the right way, and you'll work that out pretty quickly. But yeah, as long as you're plugging all the right bits into the right spots, then you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, that's it. And I think with that, we'll leave it there for today. So I want to thank my guests, Ricki Needs and David Yang, for joining me. Boys, thank you.
No worries.
No, thank you.
And if you like this episode, please tell 2 friends in 2020. Check us out we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, everywhere you like to listen to podcasts. And we're also on Pocket Casts and stuff like that. So because I just checked that recently, so we're still making sure we're on there. And in the episode description now, as of episode 50, in the episode descriptions, we'll have time codes, and they look really nice on literally every other podcasting platform except for Spotify. Spotify takes all the hard work I do making it look nice and just throws it out the window and just gives you just a hot mess of text. So if you're listening on Spotify, it looks like a mess there, but I promise it was that's Spotify's fault. That's not me. I made it pretty, and it also looks good even on YouTube. So so the podcast, you can listen to it on YouTube. If you just search Pint Party on YouTube, you can find our channel. And even on there, like not only does it have all the time codes that look nice, it even puts those time codes into the seek bar, into the video bar. it puts them all in there as well, which is really dope. So you can just sort of like scroll along, and it gives you the headlines for what each time code is, which I think is awesome. And don't forget, check us out keep up with all of our gimmicks on Instagram at pint.party or on Twitter at pintparty. And we talked a lot about Twitch today. If you wanna like, watch us live on Twitch, you can at twitch.tv/pintparty. I'm streaming 4 days a week from 2 till 4:30 p.m. For the most part, except for today. Today I should have been streaming, but I wasn't because I was recording this. So you can just go to twitch.tv/pintparty, click on the schedule tab, and that'll give you our schedule in your time zone, which is fantastic. And then once Ricki gets up and running, we will let you know, and he'll be at twitch.tv/elneedzo. Is that correct?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. We'll tweet that out and stuff when that all happens. And if you want to watch previous streams from me on Twitch, they're also on our YouTube channel as well. So that's all there too if you want to watch those back. There's literally there's there's about 50 hours of content alone just for me playing Exapunks. So if you're looking for something to put on in the background while you work, there's just oodles and oodles and oodles of content there for background listening, which is what it's designed for. And
actually, I do have a really funny story just about my stream during the week.
Yeah, go on.
A mate of mine was watching me at work, and everyone in his office had left for the day.
Yeah.
So he went into the conference room, loaded up my stream on the projector, and just to take a Snapchat and send it to me of him in the office with me on the projector. Nice. He turned it off, but didn't realize that the projector also it was actually running off a Chromecast. And by turning off the projector, it didn't actually turn off the Chromecast. So when his bosses came in the next day and had a conference in the conference room, when they turned the projector, it was a still image of me on the projector. Just midstream, it had paused, but it was me midstream. And my mate is sitting in his cubicle, can see the conference room
and he goes, "Oh, fuck."
From his cubicle, sees me pop up on the screen, and just straight away heads down, just starts typing furiously, just don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. And yeah, apparently the bosses weren't too happy that someone had been streaming Twitch on company time, but they didn't catch him, so it was all good. But yeah, I just thought that was funny.
Oh my god! I mean, that's at least not too bad. It could be worse. It could have been watching porn and then fires it up and you get big titty goth GF. But with that, we'll leave it there. So this has been Pint Party. Cheers.
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 This podcast is part of the Hartefact Podcast Network. For more of this and our other podcasts, head to hartefactstudios.com.au.